From the 18th floor of my new apartment, I can see the entire skyline. It's a view I used to dream about, city lights blinking like signals in the dark, as if reminding me that I survived something I wasn't supposed to. A year ago, I was married. I was preparing for fatherhood. I thought my life was finally settling into something solid. Now I sit alone on a couch I didn't choose, in a home that doesn't feel like home, asking myself one question. How did I not see it coming? Her name was Lily. She walked into my life like a summer storm, loud, electric, impossible to ignore. We met in Las Vegas during a mutual friend's weekend bash. She was there for a bachelorette party, laughing too loudly, wearing bright red lipstick that didn't smudge no matter how many drinks she had. I wasn't supposed to fall for anyone. It was supposed to be one wild weekend with the boys, drinks, poker, and bad decisions. But then she sat at the blackjack table across from me, gave me this sideways glance, and said, "Asterisk, if I win this hand, you buy me dinner." Asterisk. She won, and I lost more than just a hand that night. Over the next 3 days, we barely slept. We talked about everything: dreams, childhood traumas, travel goals, our favorite pizza toppings. It was intense, fast, and stupidly romantic. I flew back to New York thinking it would fade, but it didn't. We texted. We called. We FaceTimed every night. 3 months later, I was on a flight to Denver just to see her for the weekend. That weekend turned into 5 days, then a month, then 6. By the end of that year, I proposed on the rooftop of her favorite diner, under fairy lights and cheap champagne. She said yes without hesitation. People said we were rushing. Maybe we were, but it felt real. And when it's real, you don't wait. We started trying for a baby right after the honeymoon. At first, it was exciting. We downloaded fertility apps. She bought ovulation strips in bulk. I started eating more spinach and salmon because apparently it helps swimmers. It became our shared project. Every month was a fresh chance, another shot at creating something permanent between us. But nothing happened. Month after month, Lily would stare a negative test, then fake a smile like it didn't break her. I started suggesting we see a specialist, but she'd always brush it off. "It's not the right time. Let's just relax. Maybe next month." I began to feel like the problem. Maybe I was broken. Maybe I didn't deserve a child. And then, one cold March morning, I came home from a work trip and found Lily sitting on the bathroom floor, holding a pregnancy test with trembling fingers. 2 pink lines. Positive. She didn't even speak. She just held it out like a peace offering, eyes wide with disbelief. I dropped my bag, fell to my knees. We hugged in silence for 10 straight minutes. That night, I bought a little stuffed fox and put on the empty shelf in our guest room. Things were perfect for about 2 weeks. Then she started changing. First, it was her phone. She used to leave it lying around the house, unlocked, face up. Now it was always face down. She changed her password, turned off notifications, started taking it into the bathroom with her. When I asked why, she laughed. "You're acting paranoid. What, you think I'm cheating on you while 8 weeks pregnant?" I laughed too, but something in her eyes didn't match the words. Then came Chris, my best friend since we were 13. He and Lily had always gotten along, but now he was stopping by more, bringing her smoothies, offering to drive her to prenatal yoga. One day I walked in and found them whispering in the kitchen. They stopped the moment I entered, like I had just ruined something. Lily smiled too wide. Chris was just asking about crib safety standards. "Isn't he sweet?" "Sure, sweet, or suspicious." Still, I buried it. Because what else could I do? She was pregnant, hormonal, sensitive. I told myself I was overthinking. I wanted to believe I was overthinking. And then Oliver was born. 16 hours of labor. I never left her side. I held her hand while she screamed, cried, cursed me out, and begged for ice chips. And when the doctor placed him in my arms, I felt something I can't describe. It was like holding the future. Like everything painful and hard had led to this perfect, wrinkled, screaming little miracle. I cried. Lily didn't. She looked at me, then at him, and turned away. And something inside me whispered, "He doesn't look like you." And she knows it. The hospital room smelled like antiseptic and powdered formula. Lily was propped up in bed, scrolling through her phone with one hand and idly rocking Oliver's bassinet with the other. She looked tired, not the kind of tired from giving birth, but a different kind, distant and disinterested. Meanwhile, I was trying to figure out why my son's blood type was impossible. The nurse had dropped the detail casually, like it meant nothing. "Oh, negative. That's rare. You two must be lucky." Lucky? Lily was AB positive. I was a positive. We'd both taken those tests years ago when donating blood. But Oliver? Oh, negative? That was genetically impossible. One of us would have to carry a recessive O gene. Neither of us did. I didn't mention it right away. I waited. Waited through the hospital discharge. Waited through the first week of sleepless nights, midnight bottle warmings, and whispered lullabies. But it festered. Every time I looked at Oliver, I searched his face. His nose. His jawline. His ears. He was beautiful, and he didn't look anything like me. One night, after Lily finally fell asleep, I stood by the crib and whispered, "Who are you really?" I decided to test the waters. Over coffee one morning, I brought it up gently. "Hey, weird thing. The nurse said Oliver's O negative. Isn't that strange?" Lily didn't flinch. "Hospitals mess stuff up all the time," she said, stirring cream into her cup. "They probably mislabeled something." "Yeah, but both of us are positive. We need—" "Evan," she interrupted, setting her mug down hard. "You think I'm lying about his blood? About who his father is?" Her tone was sharp, defensive. Her eyes were too wide, too shiny. It was too much. I backed down. No, of course not. Just, science." She didn't answer. She just got up and left the room. That same night, I couldn't sleep. While she snored quietly in bed, I opened my laptop and started researching paternity testing. Turns out, it's easier than I thought. A simple cheek swab. $100. Discreet shipping. I ordered it. Told myself it was just for peace of mind. But if I'm being honest, I already knew the truth. The test arrived 3 days later. I did it in the bathroom while Lily was out getting groceries. Swabbed Oliver's cheek gently while he cooed at the ceiling fan. He smiled. That smile broke me a little. What kind of man doubts a baby who hasn't even learned how to lie? I dropped the envelope at the post office with shaking hands. Then I waited. During those 5 days, everything Lily did became suspect. She'd hum to herself in the kitchen, and I'd wonder if she was planning something. She'd laugh at a text, and I'd think, asterisk, was it him? Was it Chris? Was it someone else? Asterisk. I began to feel like a stranger in my own life, like I was playing house in someone else's fantasy. On the 5th day, the email came at 7:12 a.m. Subject line, paternity test results, confidential. I sat on the toilet lid, opened the PDF, and read one line over and over. Probability of paternity, 0%. I didn't cry, didn't scream. I just sat there, numb. Everything went silent, except for one sound. From the hallway came the soft, innocent gurgle of a baby waking up. I walked in a nursery and stared down at Oliver. He looked up at me with big eyes, Lily's eyes. And I whispered, "It's not your fault." Because it wasn't. None of it was his fault. But someone was going to answer for it. After the DNA results, my world didn't just crack. It fractured in perfect silence. I didn't confront Lily. Not yet. I needed more than a lab result. I needed the why. I needed the who. And I needed to know just how deep this betrayal went. So I played along. I kissed her cheek in the mornings. I rocked Oliver to sleep at night. I even posted a cute picture of us on Instagram with the caption, "Family Red Heart," just to keep up the illusion. Because behind that illusion, I was watching, listening, digging. The first clue came accidentally. Lily had gone to take a nap. I was folding laundry when her phone buzzed on the counter. The message preview flashed. Thursday at the Stanton. Same room. The number wasn't saved. No name. The Stanton. That was a downtown hotel. Not cheap. Definitely not the kind of place you'd meet a friend for lunch. I snapped a photo of the message, then carefully set the phone back like nothing happened. That night, while Lily slept, I checked our joint credit card statement online. My stomach dropped. Room service, spa treatments, multiple charges from the Stanton over the last 4 months, every other Thursday. Each one carefully disguised as wellness expenses or prenatal therapy. She had even labeled one as lactation consultant. Jesus. It was clear now. She wasn't just lying about the baby. She had been lying for months. But who was the other man? I thought back to the delivery room, the hospital, even our baby shower. One face kept coming up, again and again. Her boss, David Carrington. Older, married, rich. He had been strangely involved since Lily's pregnancy. He sent us a massive baby gift, a $2,000 stroller I never asked for. He'd even called to congratulate me personally when Oliver was born. At the time, I thought he was just being generous. Now it felt like guilt. I started watching more closely. One afternoon, Lily asked me to watch Oliver so she could drop by the office. I nodded and smiled. 15 minutes later, I pulled up the GPS tracker I'd installed in her car the night before. She wasn't at the office. She was at the Stanton. Again, I wasn't ready to confront her yet. I still needed leverage. That night, I called my sister, Jess. She was a corporate attorney with a habit of not sugarcoating things. I told her everything. The affair, the DNA test, the suspicious hotel trips. She was quiet for a second, then said, "You need to protect your assets." Now, Jess explained something I hadn't considered. If Lily divorces you while claiming you're the father, she could fight for child support. If you just walk away, she could argue financial abandonment. But if you gather evidence, clear, indisputable proof, you can shut this down before it gets ugly. So that's what I did. I opened a new bank account in my name only, transferred my personal savings, locked my investment accounts with new passwords, even created a dummy account that looked like our old one, with a fake balance and routine paychecks I'd manually added. Lily never noticed the switch. She was too busy planning something else. One night, she leaned against the doorframe and asked, "So, any update on your inheritance?" My blood ran cold. I had only mentioned the inheritance once, casually, when my father passed. It wasn't public. There were no documents in the house. How did she even remember? I shrugged. Still stuck in probate. Could take a few more months. She smiled. "Well, I'm just thinking long-term. For Oliver." Her voice was sweet, almost sincere, but her eyes? They were calculating. That's when it hit me. This wasn't just cheating. This was a plan. A long con. The baby. The marriage. Even the inheritance. She was playing the long game, and she thought I was still asleep. But she had no idea I was wide awake. The moment Lily mentioned the inheritance again, I knew I wasn't her partner. I was her mark. But the game was still on, and I was done playing defense. Now it was time to hit back. The setup. I scheduled a casual get-together. Just a backyard barbecue with a few friends, Chris, my best friend, and his girlfriend, a couple of Lily's co-workers, and even her boss, David Carrington. Yep, him. I wanted to watch them together, to study them in the same space. Lily was radiant that day, dressed to impress. She spent more time talking to David than anyone else. I watched her laugh at his jokes like a teenager with a crush. I saw the way he avoided eye contact with me, but kept glancing at Oliver like he was looking at something familiar. It was all I needed. The sample. I had done my research. To get a reliable DNA match, I needed something David had touched, something with saliva, ideally. As luck would have it, he drank from a red Solo cup and left it on the patio table. I grabbed it with gloves on and sealed it in a Ziploc bag when no one was watching. I didn't breathe a word to Lily. Instead, I told her how great it was that David came, how I was finally feeling better about everything. She smiled and kissed my cheek. Snake. The test. I shipped the cup to a private lab in another state. Paid extra for speed and anonymity. While I waited for the results, I acted normal. Played with Oliver. Kissed Lily goodnight. Even joked about baby names for our next kid. Inside, I was boiling. The results. 3 days later, I got the email. I locked myself in the bathroom to read it. Probability of paternity, 99.97%. I sat on the edge of the tub and just breathed. There it was. David Carrington was Oliver's biological father. It all made sense now. The spa visits, the hotel bills, the expensive gifts, the way Lily suddenly started talking about financial freedom and family legacy. She had gotten pregnant on purpose. Not by me, but by a man with a 7-figure salary and a corporate empire. The trap. I wasn't going to scream. I wasn't going to cry. I was going to document everything. I started gathering receipts, screenshots, credit card statements, GPS logs from her car, all organized in folders named after fake work projects so she wouldn't get suspicious. Next, I hired a private investigator. His name was Vince, and he was the kind of guy who looked like he hadn't smiled since 2002. 2 days in, Vince came back with hotel surveillance stills. Lily and David, kissing, entering the same room. Every other Thursday, like clockwork. The confrontation that never came. I thought I'd confront her, yell, scream, throw the results in her face. But no, she wasn't worth that moment. Instead, I called my lawyer, updated my will, and drafted divorce papers. Quietly, efficiently, deadly. The calm before the storm. Lily had no idea. She was too busy planning Oliver's future. Too busy talking about college funds and life insurance. Too busy playing the part of the sweet, devoted wife. One evening, as she curled up next to me on the couch and rested her head on my chest, I stared at the ceiling and thought, "You're in for the surprise of your life." And the best part? She'd have no idea it was coming, until it was already too late. I didn't want revenge. I wanted precision. Every lie she told, every smirk she gave me while she cuddled another man's child, it all burned in the back of my mind like a fever I couldn't sweat out. But I knew one thing. If I moved too fast, I'd lose everything. And if I moved too slow, she'd take it first. So I moved like a ghost. Hashtag strategic withdrawal. First step, get out of the house without raising suspicion. I told Lily I was crashing in my sister's place for a few days to help her recover from wisdom tooth surgery. Convenient. Harmless. Sweet. Lily kissed me goodbye and said, "You're such a good brother." I smiled and said, "And a great husband." She didn't even flinch. I packed my essentials, my laptop, and the black folder with everything. The DNA results, financial records, Vince's hotel photos. I didn't tell Jess anything yet. Not until I had full control. Hashtag lockdown mode. From the spare bedroom at Jess's house, I started cutting off the oxygen supply. Financially, legally, emotionally. Asterisk, I closed our joint savings account. Asterisk, froze the credit cards. Asterisk, moved my stocks into a separate trust. Asterisk, revoked Lily's access to my health insurance. Asterisk, and most importantly, I updated my will. Everything now pointed to Jess and my goddaughter, not Lily. Not my family, and certainly not Oliver. I wasn't being cruel. I was protecting myself from someone who weaponized motherhood to commit emotional fraud. Hashtag the calm text. Lily didn't suspect a thing. She texted, "Hope your sis is doing better. Don't forget to bring Oliver his little giraffe toy next time. Red heart." I replied, "Of course. Love you both." God, I wanted to throw my phone across the room. Instead, I messaged my lawyer. Next step. Hashtag the lawyer's plan. My lawyer, Amanda Shaw, didn't play games. She'd represented Fortune 500 execs during billion-dollar divorces, and she treated my case like it was personal. She said, "You're the one with hard proof. We don't just fight. We crush." We drafted the papers. I would file under fraud, infidelity, and financial manipulation. No spousal support. No claim to assets. Full release of obligation toward Oliver, on the grounds of proven non-paternity. Amanda also advised me to delay filing until Lily had legally implicated herself further. "Let her talk," she said. "The more confident she feels, the more leverage we get." So I waited. Hashtag Lily gets greedy. 3 days later, Lily called. "Babe, you won't believe what Rick offered me today at work. A senior consultant spot. Better salary, fewer hours. Isn't that great?" My stomach twisted. Rick, Oliver's actual father. Of course he was offering her promotions. To keep her close, to keep her quiet. I played dumb. "That's amazing, babe. I'm proud of you." Then she dropped the bomb. "I think this means I can finally start my candle business. You know, with your inheritance as seed money." She laughed like it was cute. I nearly blacked out from rage. Hashtag the snap. That night, I stared at the ceiling of Jess's guest room, fists clenched, jaw tight. She planned this whole thing. Used me as an incubator for a better life. All I ever gave her, the stability, the love, the loyalty, was just the down payment on her real plan. And then something broke inside me. The last trace of guilt. The last memory of our wedding. The last part of me that still saw her as my wife. It all died in that moment. Hashtag, 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 the execution begins. I told Amanda to initiate the filing. She submitted the papers the next morning. Then I scheduled a final meeting with Lily. A neutral cafe. Middle of the day. Public. Controlled. I arrived early and sat with my phone recording in my jacket pocket. She walked in wearing that same cream sweater she wore when she told me she was pregnant. Fake warmth. Fake love. Fake wife. She smiled and leaned in to kiss me. I turned away. We need to talk. She froze. What's wrong? Everything, I said. And I have proof. Her face cracked. Not broken. Just fractured. Like she still believed she could talk her way out of this. You don't know what you're talking about. I know about David. I know about the DNA. I know everything. She looked around the cafe like a trapped animal. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You can't prove anything. I slid the folder across the table. Inside, photos, documents, financial trails, the DNA result. All of it. Her hand trembled as she opened it. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. She didn't apologize. She just whispered. How long have you known? Long enough to bury you in court. Then I stood up. You can keep the giraffe toy. That's between you and Rick. And I walked out calm, collected, and finally free. 6 months. It had been 6 months since the final court date. 6 months since I watched Lily walk out of that mediation room, carrying nothing but a fake designer purse and a list of debts. And yet, it still felt like yesterday. Not because I missed her, because I still hadn't figured out how to unfeel it all. Hashtag, hashtag, hashtag my condo, my rules. The downtown condo was quiet. Too quiet some days. I had everything I thought I wanted: peace, privacy, a stunning view of the city skyline, and no one asking, when are we getting the next ultrasound? But some mornings, I caught myself staring at the empty chair across the breakfast bar. Not because I wanted her back. Hell no. But because I hated what I had to go through to get here. Hashtag, 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 Jess shows up. Jess came over one Saturday with coffee and that smirk she always wore when she had something to say, but wanted you to ask first. She flopped onto the couch, kicked off her boots, and said, You ever gonna stop hiding in this penthouse and start living again? I'm not hiding, I lied. She raised an eyebrow. You're ghosting your friends, avoiding parties, and turning down dates like you've taken a vow of emotional celibacy. I sipped my coffee. Maybe I have. Hashtag, hashtag, hashtag a conversation that mattered. Jess didn't push. She never did. But when she finally spoke again, her voice was soft. You know you're not broken, right? I stared at her. She went on. You were betrayed, lied to, manipulated. But none of that makes you weak. You're still the guy who helped me move out of toxic marriage. The guy who paid off Mom's hospital bill without telling her. That guy's still in there. My throat tightened. You think so? I know so, she said. You just forgot. And that's okay. But it's time to remember. Hashtag, hashtag, hashtag the email. A week later, I got an email from Lily. Subject line, no subject. The message was short. You were right. I lost everything. But Jackson is growing fast. You don't have to respond. I just wanted to say sorry. No manipulation. No ask for money. No twisting the knife. Just silence. I didn't reply. I didn't need to. Hashtag, 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 the unexpected message. That same night, I got a message on Instagram from someone I barely knew, Rick's ex-wife. I heard what happened. You deserve better. Thank you for exposing them. You probably saved me years of pretending. She ended with a sunflower emoji. Weirdly comforting. I sat there for 10 minutes, just staring at the screen. And then I smiled. Not out of revenge. Not out of victory. But because someone else was finally okay, too. Hashtag, 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 one more step. The next morning, I finally did it. I booked a flight, Thailand, 2 weeks. No plans. No guidebooks. Just escape. Jess texted me the moment she saw my Instagram story. Yeses. My brother's back. Was I healed? No. But I wasn't bleeding anymore either. And that was enough for now. Hashtag final thoughts. I don't believe every relationship is doomed. But I do believe that ignoring red flags just because you want the love story to work, that's the real betrayal. I don't know where I'll be a year from now, but I know this. When someone tries to steal your future, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away with your dignity, your name, and your bank account intact. And maybe, just maybe, your peace too.